Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. My name is Colleen and I am pleased that you're here with me today. Today I'm going to share with you a slow cooker recipe. I'm not sure that I've done one before, but I'm not sure what we would do without a slow cooker or a crock pot in our house. And I think most houses are in the same boat. We probably have one. And it's fantastic to be able to throw everything into the crock pot and come the end of the day have a prepared meal. So today I'm going to share with you a butter chicken recipe, and I will also share with you how we cook our rice, which might be different than how you cook your rice, I'm not sure. But anyway, come back right after this. I will gather everything up that we need and we'll get started. Okay, I hope that I've gotten everything gathered up here that we're going to need for this. I really love that we can put everything into one vessel. That's what I'm going to do today. I have here 2, 4, 6, 8 chicken thighs, which is my favorite to use in the crock pot. I use it over chicken breasts because it just seems to hold up better and it doesn't dry out as chicken breasts can do. This isn't completely thawed. I took them out of the freezer this morning, but it's only just noon here and they haven't had a chance to thaw completely through. So that means I will start them probably on high and then turn them down to low. So I'm going to remove any obvious fatty bits and set those aside, get rid of them. And then I am going to cut each of these chicken thighs probably into about 4 pieces, 3 pieces maybe. I am not cubing them, I'm just cutting them into chunks like this. I think it gives them a little better surface area. I have all the chicken bits in the slow cooker, and now I am going to wash up this board and my knife and we'll get on with the rest of the ingredients. Now into the slow cooker right now, before I add anything else, I'm going to add some tomato sauce, a can of tomato sauce, and about a half a jar of canned tomatoes. And maybe a little more than that even. I have quite a bit of chicken in there, so I might just add the whole thing. I just better grab me a spatula. And now I am going to open up some tomatoes, and I'm going to put quite a bit of tomato in there actually. I think that's good. So I've added about 2/3 of a jar of tomatoes, and these were whole tomatoes that you may have seen if you were watching. I canned these tomatoes from a number 10 can, so I was recanning them. And if you haven't seen that video, I'll try and remember to link it below so that you can see how you can recan things from big cans into smaller ones. Okay, now we're ready to move on to some of the spices, and I really like this to be quite heavily spiced for flavor, not for heat, for flavor. So I'm going to be adding a few things to this. I want to add, I'm just looking down at my recipe, I want to add about a half a teaspoon of granulated sugar. I don't think it'll need more than that. And really we just put the sugar in there to compensate for the acidity of the tomatoes. So we want to bring that acidity down a little bit. So that's why we do that. And I'm going to add a teaspoon, which I should be measuring away from there, teaspoon of salt. And then we'll start to add the flavor bits. And I'm going to start with the garam masala, and I need 4 teaspoons of garam masala. And oh, it smells so good when you open it up. So I am going to, there's 1, 2, 3, too much, 4. And I'm only adding a half a teaspoon of chili powder because we enjoy the spice, we don't enjoy the heat. So a half a teaspoon of chili powder is plenty for us. And I'm going to add a teaspoon of cumin. Actually, I'm going to make that 2 teaspoons of cumin. And I'm doing that because I added the extra tomato in there. The recipe, which will be in the description box below, I will put the regular recipe. Now the reason I'm doubling some of this up is because my crock pot is a big one. I don't have a smaller one. If you had a 4-quart crock pot, that would be ideal for this recipe. But I do not. I only have this big crock pot, and so I need to adjust to make sure that everything's going to come out right. I need a teaspoon, maybe a teaspoon and a half of turmeric, and that's the dry spices. And now I'm going to add 5 cloves of garlic and maybe 6 because some of them are smaller. And I am just going to give these guys a rough chop. Well, because we like a lot of garlic in our food, and it's good for us, I guess. So they keep telling us that. There we go. This is starting to look where I want it to go. I don't know what the weather's like where you guys are living. But let me tell you, this is a crazy January that we're having where we live. It has been raining. It has been raining for the last couple of days, which is really unseasonal for us. We are here at the 15th of January, and it should be snowing at the very least. Or it should be cold, -20. But it's 0 degrees and it's raining. And for us, that's really unseasonable. I don't know what that's going to mean for the rest of the year moving forward. I suspect we will have water issues because we, even here in the mountains, we count on the snowpack to make sure that we have enough moisture to sustain us through the summertime, and it looks like that could be a problem if this carries on. We had about 16 inches of snow, but we're probably down to a foot now from it being melted away with the rain. I've got a big piece of ginger here, and I'm going to use my rasp on this, and I am going to rasp about 2 tablespoons of ginger into this mixture. And I'm going to try to be diligent and not rasp my fingers because I've done that and it's not that much fun. But this is a good way to get the flavor in there. You could, of course, use dry ginger, but if you have an opportunity to use freshly grated ginger, that's what I would recommend. Yeah. I think that's got it. And now I think that I'm going to give it a good stir to make sure that everything is mixed well. If you had the opportunity to do this part, even the night before, I would do it because it would give your chicken a chance to really marinate and pick up all the flavors from everything in the marinade. But that's not how it was destined to be in my kitchen today. We're doing it a little faster. and I am happy to be doing it at all. So this is what it looks like in the big crock pot. And I find crock pots to be an interesting bridge between old-time cooking and present cooking, because they'd never heard of a crock pot, you know, 100 years ago. That would not have happened. They would have just put all the food into one vessel like we're doing now, probably a Dutch oven or a big pot or pan. It would have gone covered and either sat on top of the stove at the back where of the old wood stoves or coal, and it would have sat near the back where it wasn't quite so hot and it could just gently cook all day long, or put it in the oven of one of the old wood stoves. But as wood started to fade out and modern stoves started to arrive, we had both propane and we had electric stoves. And so they could switch to putting things in the oven. But about that time they became more interested in crock pot, or not in crock pot meals, but in casseroles, because casseroles didn't take up nearly the amount of energy, like the power, if you had the crock pot, or if you had the, I've confused myself. If you had the casserole in the oven, it only needed to cook maybe for 45 minutes to an hour and a half, where if you were slow cooking a meal in the oven, that was going to take 4 to 6 hours. So we've kind of gotten away from that, those casserole meals, although some of us still do them, and if you're interested, I'll share some more. We've gotten away from that, and a lot more of us are using our slow cookers again, which means we're back to using the energy that we were trying to save, but those meals just couldn't be beaten. So it's one of those things, you balance your kitchen. So I am going to put this into my crock pot container, and I am going to leave it between 4 and 6 hours. I do have a meat thermometer, so I am going to check it at the 4-hour mark to see if the internal temperature of the chicken has reached 165. If it has, I'll stop, and I'll bring you back at that point and show you how we cook the rice and how we bring this meal together. If it's not ready, I will let you know. If it's not ready at the 4-hour mark, I'll tell you how long I had to wait for it to reach 165. I expect today it's going to be longer because those pieces, some of them were frozen. So I will see you back here in a little while. I needed to just hop back on here for a moment and let you know that I forgot to put the butter in the butter chicken. So I just have the crock pot started now, and I'm going to go over there and I'm going to add 1/3 cup of butter in just small pieces, maybe ½ teaspoon pieces, onto the top of the uncooked chicken in the crock pot. So I will do that and we'll be back on track. Well, I have just tested the chicken in the crock pot, or the slow cooker, with my meat thermometer, and it says it's really close to being ready. So this is a good time for me to start my rice. I have in my strainer 1 cup of basmati rice, which is our favorite. It's got nice long grains and cooks up just the way we like it. So that's helpful too. I'm going to give this a good rinse, and then I'm going to put it into this 2-quart microwavable bowl, because we're going to microwave this rice. Now, why rinse the rice, you may ask? It's because there is a lot of starch on the outside of the rice kernels, and if we don't rinse it, then they will clump together, and clumpy rice, unless that's what you're going for, that's not what we're going for here. But there are applications where you would want your rice to be sticky and stick together. This isn't one of them. So I rinse it well, and I have 1 cup of rice, so I'm going to add 2½ cups of water to the bowl. Now, into that, I'm going to add ½ teaspoon of salt and 1 tablespoon of butter. and I'm just going to let that be. I'm going to cover this with a piece of plastic wrap so that it's good and tight. And I am going to pop it in to my microwave on its regular high setting, and I'm going to leave it in. I'm going to set the timer on the microwave for 18 minutes, at which point it will be perfection. I hope that you give this a try. It means you don't have to watch a pot or stir one or worry about when the rice is cooked. If you don't have a rice cooker, this is an excellent way to make rice. Well, here we are with this beautiful butter chicken and some rice. And I've just taken the rice from the microwave. Now this gets very, very hot in there, and the steam when it comes out, it comes in a hurry. So be really cautious and open away from yourself so that you don't get a steam burn. I'm just going to scoop some of this rice onto my plate, and you can see that it separates very easily. And to that now, I am going to add some of this wonderful butter chicken. And for those of you that have asked me what kind of a slow cooker or crock pot this is, this was made by GE, and it's an old model. So I don't know if you can still get this square one anymore or not. But there we go. This is a slow cooker recipe. This is butter chicken made in a crock pot. It's been in there cooking for the past 4 hours. I put it on high, and I left it on high because the chicken thighs were a bit frozen. So I left it on high, and it worked out just perfectly at 4 hours. So that'll give you an idea. Probably 7 to 8 hours on low, but around 4 hours on high if you're starting with a product that's still a little frozen. So folks, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, you'll consider subscribing to the channel. Give the video a like or a thumbs up, and share it on your social media with your friends. That would be the most helpful for me. And I look forward to coming to you again soon with another video. And in the meantime, folks, I hope that you're all well and safe, and take care, everybody. Bye-bye.